What if one of America's biggest energy advantages is quietly slipping away? For decades, the United States benefited from discounted Canadian oil, helping support manufacturers, transportation networks, and consumers. But while President Donald Trump traveled to Beijing seeking progress on trade and supply chains, Canada was advancing plans that could reshape North America's energy future. Your roadmap to the latest in auto? Welcome to Highway Herald. From pipelines and LNG exports to strategic oil reserves and the growing power demands of AI, today's story explores why Canada's energy influence is growing, and why some believe America's long-standing advantage may be facing its biggest challenge in decades. Number 6. Beijing talks fall short of the major breakthrough many expected. Let's begin in Beijing. President Trump's visit to China generated significant expectations, with many hoping for breakthroughs on tariffs, rare earth minerals, agricultural exports, and broader trade relations between the world's two largest economies. While China reportedly agreed to purchase Boeing aircraft, many of the summit's most anticipated outcomes failed to materialize. No major trade deal, tariff resolution, or rare earth supply agreement emerged. Supporters viewed the continued dialogue as valuable amid growing U.S.-China competition, while critics saw more symbolism than substance. Markets responded cautiously, and businesses still face uncertainty. Whether viewed as a diplomatic success or disappointment, the summit did not produce the transformational economic breakthrough many had expected. But while much of the world's attention remained fixed on Beijing, a much bigger development was quietly unfolding much closer to home, one that could directly affect North America's energy balance. Number 5. Canada moves to challenge America's preferred access to cheap oil. For decades, American refiners benefited from Canada's limited ability to export its vast oil reserves beyond the United States. Most Canadian crude flowed south through pipeline networks, helping keep Western Canadian Select oil priced well below U.S. benchmark crude and providing billions of dollars in savings for American buyers. However, that advantage may be changing. In May 2026, Prime Minister Mark Carney and Alberta Premier Danielle Smith advanced plans for a major West Coast pipeline, building on the expanded Trans Mountain system. As Canada gains greater access to Asian markets, buyers across the Pacific could increasingly compete for Canadian crude, reducing America's long-standing pricing advantage. The significance of this development extends far beyond oil alone, because Canada's ambitions don't stop with crude exports. Another energy sector is beginning to expand even faster, and it could prove just as important in the decades ahead. Number 4. Canada's expanding footprint in Asia's energy future. The significance of this shift becomes even greater when Canada's growing liquefied natural gas ambitions are added to the equation. For generations, Canadian natural gas flowed overwhelmingly toward the United States. That long-standing relationship helped define North America's energy landscape. Today, however, a new chapter is beginning. LNG Canada recently surpassed 1 million metric tons of exports in a single month, opening direct pathways into Asian markets and positioning the country to participate in one of the world's fastest-growing energy sectors, and this may only be the beginning. As Canada expands both oil and LNG exports, its leverage in global energy markets continues to grow. But Canada's growing influence also highlights a challenge facing the United States itself: whether America's own energy safety net is prepared for an increasingly uncertain future. Number 3. America's emergency oil reserve faces new questions. As Canada expands its access to global energy markets, the United States faces ongoing energy security challenges centered around the Strategic Petroleum Reserve. Created after the energy crises of the 1970s, the reserve serves as an emergency buffer during supply disruptions. Recent releases have reduced inventories well below historic highs, raising concerns about how quickly and affordably those barrels can be replaced. While reports do not confirm a new 40-year low, replenishing the reserve remains a significant challenge. For drivers, manufacturers, airlines, and trucking companies, fuel prices continue to influence costs across the economy, highlighting the contrast between Canada's expanding opportunities and America's focus on energy resilience. Before we continue with the top 2 developments, we'd appreciate it if you could subscribe to Highway Herald. Your support helps us bring you more in-depth analysis on the trends shaping vehicles, transportation, energy, and the industries that drive them. Now let's move into the developments that may have the biggest long-term impact. Number 2, the AI power boom is creating a new energy race. While oil remains a critical energy source, electricity is becoming equally important as artificial intelligence, cloud computing, and digital infrastructure drive unprecedented power demand across North America. Massive data centers supporting AI and online services require enormous amounts of electricity, with some facilities consuming as much power as entire cities. Meeting this demand will require major investments in power generation, transmission lines, substations, and grid upgrades. The automotive industry is directly affected, as electric vehicles, charging networks, battery factories, connected technologies, and autonomous driving systems all depend on reliable electricity. The key question now is whether North America's power grid can keep pace with future demand. And that question leads directly to Canada's most ambitious energy initiative yet, one designed specifically to prepare for the next generation of industrial growth. Number 1. Canada's long-term electrification vision takes shape. While the United States focuses on immediate energy challenges, Canada is pursuing a long-term strategy through the Powering Canada Strong initiative, unveiled by Prime Minister Mark Carney in May 2026. The plan aims to expand electricity generation, strengthen transmission networks, improve grid reliability, and support future industrial growth through infrastructure and workforce development. Canada already benefits from abundant hydroelectric, nuclear, and renewable energy resources, with additional interest in small modular nuclear reactors. These investments could make Canada more attractive for automotive manufacturing, battery production, and supply chain projects. Despite potential challenges, Canada is positioning itself for long-term industrial and economic competitiveness. Taken together, these developments reveal a much larger transformation taking place across North America. Verdict: a new North American energy landscape is emerging. The biggest takeaway isn't that Canada has suddenly overtaken the United States as North America's energy powerhouse, nor is it that Trump's Beijing visit produced no value whatsoever. Instead, we're witnessing the gradual emergence of a new energy balance. Canada is expanding its reach through Pacific export routes, growing LNG exports, and long-term electrification investments. Meanwhile, the United States faces the challenge of replenishing strategic oil reserves, meeting surging electricity demand, and upgrading infrastructure to support AI, data centers, and transportation electrification. The nations that control energy supplies, export corridors, and electrical infrastructure will enjoy enormous economic advantages in the decades ahead. The real question isn't whether North America's energy landscape is changing. The real question is, who will adapt the fastest? Now, what do you think? Could Canada's Pacific energy strategy reduce America's long-standing advantage in North American oil markets? Will AI-driven electricity demand become a bigger challenge than oil supply over the next decade? And which country do you believe is better positioned to lead the next era of energy and industrial growth? Share your thoughts and experiences in the comments below. We'd love to hear your perspective. If you enjoyed this analysis, be sure to subscribe to Highway Herald and turn on notifications so you never miss our latest vehicle updates, industry insights, and future automotive developments. Thanks for watching, and we'll see you in the next one. You can now check out any of the videos on the screen. There's more exciting and informative content waiting for you.